when we kind of rattle the shit off, I think it comes off better too. Like rather than rambling.
There was the one guy that commented on our lean.
We're live right now, by the way.
He was like, content over an hour, not good. Keep it to yourself. I was like, all right, Buster, fucking relax, okay? Have some class.
Welcome. Good morning. It's Football Sunday, the first one in quite some time. Very excited. I'm sure you guys are too. Results of the first poll. Will Prop Beaver have a winning Sunday? 70% of you say no, but he'll be close. 29% of you say just straight no.
Thank you, guys.
Prop Beaver just got finished telling me before we went live that he used some mouth tape when he slept, and he woke up seeing the board clearly with his prop. So that he said that.
True.
Dead serious. He said that.
I had an epiphany. this morning, so hyped to be here.
All right, let's run the intro and go.
Welcome to the source. The source. Source. Hey, get the source.
Someone just commented, Prop Beaver's a better capper than God himself. It's a hell of an endorsement.
I don't know. My 2023 results thus far. We'll
say otherwise.
2022 was a great year, not 2023.
First game, Browns at Bengals. The line is, let's just say 1.5. It's bouncing between 1.5 and 2. So I'm going to run the poll at 1.5. Bengals minus 1.5. Browns plus 1.5. Over. Under. The poll, the first poll of the first NFL Sunday is running. Cast your votes. Prop Beaver, tell us what you're doing here. Prop, pick, whatever you want.
Yes, I'm going to stick with the Browns +2 and discuss most of that on the Friday show. I just think that the history with this team, the fact that we're getting some points at home, I think we are going to expect to see a better Deshaun Watson in this one. He has Elijah Moore in the fold. That should open up the offense quite a bit. And on top of that, Joe Burrow, yes, he has the calf injury, which shouldn't impact his play all that much in terms of accuracy and things like that. But the decision-making, stuff like that, may be a little rusty. He missed most of with the calf injury, so going to keep that. But my favorite play for this game that I had the epiphany this morning and found, Jamar Chase under 77.5 receiving yards. You can actually get 80.5 on PointsBet right now. Betting isn't all about betting sexy overs, and while it may not be exciting fading guys like Chase, I think I have to in this matchup in the Browns. He went over 9 of 15 games last year, averaging 85 yards per game, solid, but go on the road, and Jamar Chase is 13-5 to the under in his career, averaging just 67 yards per game. He's going to face a Browns defense that, while disappointing last year, was actually quite good in the pass game. Top 5 in yards per game allowed, top 10 in DVOA against wide receiver ones. And the key to me is the fact that Denzel Ward is a cornerback one that follows. He's not going to be a guy who just stays on his side. He's going to trail Jamar Chase all game, and he's already given him troubles before. Sure, last game against Ward, he had 119 yards, but that was at home, and T. Higgins was inactive. As a result, Burrow force-fed the guy 15 targets, and Nick Chubb only averaged 2.4 yards per carry in that game. That was giving the Bengals more plays, more opportunities to throw at the Chase. I think Chubb's going to be able to run that clock a bit more today, a lot more successfully. And I don't think either scenario where Chubb gets stuffed or Chase gets 15 targets happens again. I just ultimately think that the public's obviously going to be running to bet Chase. He was talking shit about the Browns, calling them the Elves leading up to this game. And I think Denzel Ward shuts him up. So give me the under.
I'm on the other side. I'm laying the 2 with Cincinnati. He actually got it at 1.5. Bengals minus 1.5. And I think this is a clear case of overthinking, let's say. When it comes to the Browns, I understand the points that Prop Beaver's making. I understand why a lot of people are on them. But everything's supported by hypotheticals. Yes, the Browns offense should be better this year because analytically Deshaun Watson was so bad in those last 6 games. He was so bad. Analytically, the Browns would have been significantly better if they stuck with Jacoby Brissett for the final 6 games. So yes, he's bound to be better than that. Yes, the surrounding weapons around him should be better with Elijah Moore, but it's all hypotheticals. On the defensive side, you had all what they went through. The linebacking core, the Browns' 3 linebackers missed a combined 25 games between the 3 of them. So there's the injuries. There was the suspensions. Myles Garrett got suspended for a drive. He got in a car accident. Delpit got had a minor suspension there. Clowney bailed on the team. There was so much bullshit. surrounding the Browns defense. So yes, they should be better. But again, hypotheticals. And this is kind of how I feel about the Chicago Bears as well. Hypotheticals. I'm not betting on hypotheticals. I know that Cincinnati's probably the square side, probably the public side, but you know what? You know what Joe Burrow is the king of? Cashing as the public side. That's what he does. That's all he does. Bengals are always the square side, and they just keep cashing. So I feel a lot more. It's week one. There's no such thing as locks any week. Certainly not in week one. I feel a lot more comfortable with my money on the Cover King Cincinnati Bengals than I do on Deshaun Watson in Cleveland. But I completely understand why people are on Cleveland here. It does make sense. I'm just going with the guys who always seem to cover. And by the way, that the trend that the Browns own Joey Burrow, he put that to sleep in December. They beat the shit out of him. So I'm done with that trend. It's over. Burrow beat him back in December. Nick Chubb had 34 yards rushing or some shit in that game. I'm on Cincy. Our poll, pretty split even. Let's see what the final results are. Holy shit, there's 600 people in here already. Wow. Everyone's fired up. So we got 48% of our viewers on Cincinnati, 43% on Cleveland. Next game coming. Tampa at Minnesota. Let's see what this line's currently at. 4.5 it's down to. Wow. Bucks plus 4.5. Vikings minus 4.5. Over, under. Polls running. Cast your votes. Prop Beaver, fire away.
Yeah, I mean, I think if this was on Friday when it was at the 6.5, this is a full unit play. Would probably bump this down to a half unit now that it's gone down to full 2 points. But I do like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here. Everybody's going to shit on the Bucks, but you know what? Baker Mayfield, the guy could throw a deep ball, and I think that blends into the talent that the Buccaneers have. Sure, you'd think that Chris Godwin is just a short pass guy, but before Tom Brady became an old man last year, he was quite good down the field. And on top of that, Mike Evans, his skill set leans to deep balls as well. So I think Baker Mayfield could shock some people here against a secondary that really doesn't all impress me, even with Brian Flores there. I think Flores' system is going to take a year or two to adjust. So I think the Bucs could catch that defense sleeping in the first game of the year. They still, after all, are a Vikings defense that was amongst the worst in the league last year. And what I kind of like also offensively for the Bucs is the fact that they have a new OC. I believe his name is Carnivales. So they don't really know what to expect from this Buccaneers offense whatsoever compared to the Tom Brady offense last year. There was just screens and dump offs left and right. And then on the other side, obviously, the Vikings defense is very good, but we still got to give this Buccaneers defense some credit. They got some dogs on that team. They have Jamel Dean. He's going to be covering Justin Jefferson. That's a very good matchup for them. Hawkinson is going to be covered by either Levante David or Devin White, two great linebackers who can cover tight ends well. And then on top of that, the rush defense has always been the strength for the Bucs. And Alexander Mattison, not the most efficient runner of the ball. So I just think if you're going to give me points and the Vikings had all the luck in the world working on their favor last year, maybe that luck swings that way to the Bucs side and the Bucs cover the spread. So give me the Bucs.
100% agree. I'm on the Bucs. I'll still take him at 4.5. When I posted my ticket this morning, I got him at 5.5. Definitely wish I had a ticket of Bucs plus 6.5, but I'm on Tampa as well for a lot of the same reasons too. Look, the Bucs were an 8-9 team last year. They lose Tom Brady. And now people think they're going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL. What am I missing here? Because Tom Brady wasn't even that good last year. Yes, he threw for a shitload of yards, but he dropped back to pass 733 times. Any quarterback in the NFL, if they drop back to pass 733 times, is going to throw for a lot of yards. Just how it works. He was just 18th in the league in passer rating. I know a lot of the value here is based on the names, right? People see, oh, Tom Brady's gone, and now they have Baker Mayfield, and those names just seem so far apart, right? And that if you take Tom Brady prime to Baker Mayfield, yeah, there's a huge gap. But 35-year-old or 45-year-old Tom Brady to Baker Mayfield coming off the most efficient season of his career with the Rams, it's not that big of a drop-off. Last year, analytically, according to DVOA, where's my Bucs rankings here? So the Bucs had the 16th or the 13th ranked defense last year. Defense hasn't gone anywhere. They should be good again. In fact, without the injuries, they might even be better than that. You want to know where the Vikings rank analytically? 20th on offense, 27th on defense. So on the other side, you're talking about a team that dramatically overperformed last year. At plus 4.5, I think the value's all there in the quarterback change. I don't think there's that much of a gap from 45-year-old Tom Brady to Baker Mayfield, who I don't know if you could ever say Baker Mayfield has a prime, but if he had one, it would be right now. So, yeah, I'm taking the points with Tampa. Our poll, wow, definitely on Minnesota here.
I don't think there's much of a drop-off, and I think, in fact, if it was last year, the Bucs would be plus 1.5, which is like we're getting pretty much the same level of quarterback play. Maybe even a quarterback who will actually stretch the field a bit more, and we're getting 3 more points in our pocket. So
absolutely. 55% of our viewers are laying the points with Minnesota, 30% taking the Bucs, 7% over, 5% under. Next up, Carolina at Atlanta, a division matchup that I really hope Scott Hansen doesn't go. I don't expect Scott Hansen to be talking about this game much. Total's down to like 39. Let's see what the line's at real quick before I post the poll. Looks like we're looking at 3.5. Yeah, a lot of people like the Falcons. Move that up. All right, so Panthers plus 3.5. Falcons minus 3.5. Over, under. Poll is running. Cast your votes. Prop Beaver, spit some facts at us.
Yeah, I'm just going to keep riding with the trend of fading number 1 overall picks. They're 0-13-1 against the spread in the last 14 week 1 games. Panthers already without DJ Chark, who you would say, oh, well, DJ Chark, I mean, the guy hasn't been that great in years, but he was actually a really solid contributor for that Lions offense last year. And I think he would be a big part of this one because the rest of the weapons are really kind of crap. I mean, Terrace Marshall Jr. has been limited all week. He's not the best receiver in the world. Thielen's had a hamstring issue. He logged a limited practice, a do not practice, and a limited. So he's coming into this Sunday questionable. And on top of that, Jonathan Mingo isn't the most polished receiver coming off the bat. So Bryce Young really isn't throwing to many great targets.
He has nobody to throw to.
And the Falcons secondary improves over the offseason, bringing in guys like Jesse Bates. So I think they could do a good job of keeping Bryce Young in check. They also got Bud Dupree they brought in, Calais Campbell. So they're going to have more of a pass rush. They're going to have better guys in the secondary. I think Bryce Young's going to struggle a bit. And then really what I think it is that, like, I think the Falcons 3-headed monster running back with their O-line. It's just good enough to run on anybody. I think they're going to run all over this team. You got Cordell Patterson, the Joker, Bijan Robinson with those fresh legs, and Tyler Algier, who I mean, it almost didn't even make sense they drafted Robinson because of how good Algier was last year in terms of efficiency. And I really just think that if Ritter is better than Mariota, which is quite a low bar, then they cover the spread and they win their first week 1 game in 6 years. So I'm on the Falcons here.
I agree with a lot of what you said. I personally am terrified of that hook. So what I did, let's put it up here. I parlayed Atlanta money line with Baltimore money line, and it comes down to minus 113. Because, I mean, I really don't see Baltimore losing at home to Houston. We'll get to that in a little bit. So, money line parlay. I'm sorry. I got to put that on the screen. Money line parlay. So, it's Atlanta, Baltimore, money line parlay. I got it at minus 113 about an hour ago, so I would assume it's still somewhere around there. Don't need to repeat what he just said with no DJ Chark. Who's the weapons? Like, even if you believe in Bryce Young, which, as he said, stats show first overall picks don't do well in their first starts in week 1. Who's he throwing to? Mingo? There's just nothing on this Carolina offense that gets me excited. I'm not a big believer. What he just said about the Falcons' run game, the 3-headed monster, that offensive line, they're going to have to prove it to me first. I mean, I know they ran the ball efficiently last year. I'm not crazy confident they come out and run the ball down the throats of Carolina today. But I think it's pretty safe just taking the money line on a parlay. I'm fairly certain they win this game. It's just that hook scared me. So that's how I played this one because I didn't want to touch that hook. Let's see what the our community is on Atlanta. 62% of our viewers taking Falcons minus 3.5, 28% taking Panthers plus 3.5, 6% under, 2% over. Next game coming. Jags at Colts. Let's see what the updated line's at and run a poll. For this one, we are looking at, it's down to 4, 3.5, 4. So let's just keep it at 4 for the poll. Looks to be the consensus. We have Jags minus 4, Colts plus 4, over, under. Poll is running. Cast your votes. Prop Beaver, give us some knowledge here.
This is a tough one. I said on Friday I wanted to enter the depths of hell with the Colts.
I know you did. That's why I'm saying you sticking to it. Are you sticking to that?
I'm sticking to it because you know what? Sometimes you gotta bet shit that doesn't make sense. Sean Strickland shouldn't have had a chance last night of beating Israel Adesanya. Had the best defensive performance I think I've ever seen in a fucking middleweight fight. So yeah, I'm riding with my middleweights right here. I'm riding with my boys, the Colts, because Tony Rich, despite being ass cheeks, the guy can have success in the Shane Steichen system. Jaguars may be 13-2-1 against the spread in their last 16 against the Colts, but they're just 2-2-1 against the spread in their last 5 at Lucas Oil Stadium, losing their last 9-10 at that stadium. My main emphasis I'm going to keep driving in is that the Jaguars O-line is horrendous right now. No Jawan Taylor. He went to the Chiefs. And on top of that, their left tackle, Cam Robinson, he's suspended. They got Samson Abukum coming off the edge for the Colts. They have Kwity Paye coming off the edge for the Colts. They got DeForest Buckner causing problems in the middle. I just trust the Colts defensive front to create some havoc and throw off Lawrence's rhythm, despite the fact that the cornerbacks really aren't the most experienced. And then I think that's really it. I don't really have much more to add. It's a terrifying.
I can cut you off because you're spewing a bunch of bullshit anyway. It's Jags. It was always Jags. Give me the Jags -4. This is a classic case of Prop Beaver getting too big for his britches.
The books love you.
Prop Beaver's got a couple thousand Twitter followers now. Thinks he's fucking sweet. All right. I don't care. Maybe I'm the most square better in the world, but what the hell with this one? Anthony Richardson couldn't even win games as a Florida Gator. Now he's going to beat the Jags, who look good as hell in the second half of the season. Not to mention, add Calvin Ridley to that already explosive offense and remove Steph Gilmore from the Colts defense. There's this notion that Steph Gilmore's washed. I don't know where that comes from because he was the 8th or 9th highest rated corner in the NFL last year. He's gone. Take him out of the Colts defense. They lost the linebacker, but they also added somebody, so I consider the Colts defensive front still good because they lost somebody but added somebody. But there's just no question we're getting the way better team. I think the Jags might blow them out. Like I said, no with Jonathan Taylor to help Anthony Richardson out. And with Michael Pittman and Alec Pierce, I like those guys, but knowing Richardson's the one throwing them the ball, and that's how I would expect them to try to beat the Jags is attack that defense, because the Jags defense is not great, but there's just no way. Jags -4. I'm with the public. I'm the squarest guy ever, maybe, but Jacksonville.
You're with the entire world. Not a single comment has come in saying a single nice thing about Tony Richardson. How about you guys have some class? Tony Rich is coming through today.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people that watch college football and watched him play on Florida last year. That's why.
Bro, there was no bigger Tony Rich hater than me last year. But guess what? Sometimes you gotta turn the tide.
I'm ready no, that's because you be reading, you be following those accounts on Twitter. Oh, he looks really good in camp, bro. Don't you hear? Richardson looks really good in camp.
No, that's Andy.
77% of our viewers bet in the Jags, 13% bet in the Colts, 5% over. Next, 49ers at Steelers. What's the updated line on this, guys? It's still sitting at 2. It was at 2 about an hour ago. 2, 2.5, 2, 2.5, 2, 2. All right, it's 2. All right, 49ers -2. Steelers +2 over under. Prop Beaver, where you at?
I'm not going to take a side in this one. I'm taking Kenny Pickett over 215.5 passing yards. 4 and 6 to the total last year in full true starts, averaging 221 yards per game. And all of the talk in camp thus far has been about how this offense wants to be more vertical in 2023. We saw some of that in the preseason because last year, Pickett only had 6.2 yards per attempt and an 8 ADOT. That's dreadful. But in this preseason, through a brief sample size, we got a 10.6 ADOT, 13.3 yards per attempt. If he could take steps up in efficiency with the amount of attempts that he were throwing per game, then he should be able to cash this line because the 49ers defense last year in the regular season, they allowed 240.9 pass yards per game, 35 pass attempts, bottom 10 in the league respectively. And their rush defense was flat out insane. They allowed 60 yards per game to running backs and 3.3 yards per carry. First in both categories, and now they add Javon Hargrave into that mix. I mean, Jesus Christ, it is going to be impossible to run on this team. But while they added Hargrave, they lost some key guys in the secondary. Emmanuel Mosley, he's now with the Lions in Detroit. Starting safety Jimmy Ward, he went to the Texans and followed D'Amico Ryan. So now they got Deshaun Gibson Sr. at safety and Isaiah Oliver at cornerback. Those are two pretty massive downgrades in the secondary. On top of that, cornerback Javarius Ward hadn't practiced this week, and strong safety Talonia Hufunga logged a limited practice and a do not practice. So the secondary is not only weaker now, but they're banged up. And I think that ultimately, if the Steelers want to win this game, then Kenny Pickett has to show that he could do it through the air, and I think he does in this one. So give me the over 215.5 pass yard.
I'm on the Steelers. +2. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm taking Pittsburgh at home here. It's not one of my top bets or anything, but 49ers are definitely stacked. Not trying to take anything away from San Francisco. They've lost their opener 2 of the last 3 years. That's a stupid. I don't even know why I wrote that down. Scratch that. So I'm a Brock Purdy guy. If you've watched this channel, you know that I like Brock Purdy, but I feel like teams were starting to figure him out a bit towards the end of last year. Took over the starting job, and they were just routing teams. They blew the Dolphins out, Commanders, like the Cardinals, I think it was. They were blowing teams out, and everyone was like, bro, Brock Purdy Nation, right? Through his first 5 starts, he had a better start to a career analytically than Mahomes. He was just like lighting it up. But then, towards the end of the season, into the playoffs, he didn't do shit against Dallas in that division game. He didn't do shit against Philly either. So once teams got to look at Brock Purdy and he saw some tougher defenses, he couldn't do anything. And speaking of tough defenses, let me introduce you to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah, they were 9-8 last year, but with Kenny Pickett at quarterback, they were 8-5, and with T.J. Watt on the field, they were 8-2. That's important because T.J. Watt is kind of on that same level as Chris Jones to the Chiefs or Aaron Donald to the Rams. I mean, the entire defense is different when he's on the field. We saw it last year, plain and simple. When he was on the field, Steelers were 8-2, and look at the point totals against the Pittsburgh Steelers once T.J. Watt returned to the field. So the Bengals lit him up for 37. I'll give you that one. But look at the other 7 games, or 8 games, or 7 games. 10, 17, 16, 16, 16, 10, 13, 14. Of the final 8 games of the season when T.J. Watt returned to the team, the Steelers allowed more than 17 points just once. This defense is insane. This might be the best defense in football this year, the Steelers. So with Brock Purdy not being able, showing us that good defenses, now that they have film on them, really could neutralize them. I think the Steelers do the same thing today. Do I think Kenny Pickett's going to light up the 49ers defense? Not really. I mean, defense travels. We know San Francisco's defense is elite, but overall, I'm on the home team getting points with a defense that I think is going to be elite this year. So I'll roll with Pittsburgh. I'm a little worried at how many people were on Pittsburgh because I was saying this on the Friday show. If you rewind about a month and a half ago, people were asking, like, yo, NFL, where do you bet? And I was like, take Steelers +3. Like, I was telling everyone about that, thinking everyone was going to bet San Francisco. It's not the case. A lot of people are on Pittsburgh. In fact, our poll is leaning Steelers, as I'm looking at it right now. 52% of our viewers taking Pittsburgh, 38% taking San Francisco. So, yeah, a lot of people like Pittsburgh. I'm not going to let it scare me off, but it just didn't make my top bets. That's all. So let's move on.
I sent you the underdog for today, by the way.
Oh, I got an underdog too. So we got 2 underdogs at the end.
Oh,
we'll have an underdog off.
Okay.
And now for a real heater of a game, let's talk Cards Commanders. And I do not know what Prop Beaver's pick is in this game. We haven't talked about it. I know that last year he had a weird hard-on for the Washington Commanders, and I think he likes Sam Howell. So I'm assuming he's on Washington. Am I right?
See, my bet actually isn't here yet. I've been waiting for a Rondale Moore receptions line since last Sunday, and I still have not gotten it. So I don't know what the hell is going on there. My thought process is that the short game is going to be working for the Cardinals because Josh Dobbs, his ADOT last year was, I think, below 6. So he's going to be throwing a lot of short passes, a lot of simple screen concepts. And who's going to be getting all those? Rondale Moore. I was looking at some games last year without DeAndre Hopkins. We were seeing upwards of 8, 10, 12 targets in this offense. And I just personally think that really just leans into the script. If the Commanders do beat the scum out of the Cardinals, which I don't know if I exactly agree with that, but we'll see, then I think Rondale Moore is going to have to get a few receptions. Marquise Brown's main route tree is just deep balls, and I don't think that Dobbs can really deliver those while Michael Wilson is a rookie playing in his first game. So I think that the best angle here for me is Rondale Moore over receptions. If the books want to stop being cowards and drop the line, that'd be sick. But yeah, that's what I'm leaning for this game. I wanted to bet the Dotson receiving yards, but in hindsight, it just looks trappy, bro. Why the hell do they have the man's receptions total at 3.5 with plus money on the over? Only 42.5 receiving yards too, after he murdered that line in 5 straight to end the year. Suspect. Kills me because I want to back my boy.
So I guess, will you tweet it out if that line opens at something you like?
I'm hawking that shit. I'm updating it to this moment. I really want to play it. It's one of my favorite plays.
I have your notifications on, so if it opens, I'm expecting a tweet so me and my friends at my house can get that bet in.
Yes, sir.
So for me, this is disgusting. I'm embarrassed to type this. Cardinals plus 7. I am humiliated. I mean, I'm on a live broadcast betting the Arizona Cardinals. I'm truly humiliated. This is very simple. So I tried to take a look into this game. We were going to try to do a YouTube video about it. And just trying to break these two teams down and really make an accurate prediction is just... it hurts. Like, trying to figure out what these offenses are going to look like. I've never been a big Sam Howell guy. Didn't like him at UNC. Thought his stats were inflated by the offense that Longo was running. But how could you have any faith in the Cardinals right now? It's just this is my entire reasoning for this bet could be summarized in one sentence. Under no circumstance should Sam Howell and the Washington Commanders be laying a full touchdown in week 1. That's my description for this bet. It's not one of my top bets or anything, but I am going to throw a few dollars on it. Just because, hey, it's NFL week 1. Let's go. I'll take the 7, but I don't blame you at all if you're on Washington. And it looks like our chat is heavily on Washington. According to the poll, 63% of our viewers taking Washington -7, 20% taking the Cards and the points, 11% under. Decent amount of people on the under here. Next. Titans at Saints. Let's check updated line. Was that 2.5 last I saw? 2.5, 3, 3, 3, 2.5, 3, 2.5, 3. It's okay. It's at 3. It's at 3. Let's run the poll at 3. So Titans plus 3. I know Titans are a pretty public dog this week. Let's see. I'm curious to see how our poll looks over under. Poll is running. Go ahead and cast your votes. Prop Beaver, do you have a play in this?
No, I just can't really get a good read on this game. I don't really know how the Saints offense is going to operate with Derek Carr at QB yet. The run game is in a tough spot because Jamal Williams, despite being Mr. Touchdown, is an extremely inefficient back going against the Titans rush defense that's been one of the best in the NFL for the past 3 seasons, but they lost David Long Jr. to Miami, which is pretty huge for them. He's been a pivotal part of the rush defense. So I don't really know how that's going to play out. I also don't know how the Titans offense is going to play out in terms of props and stuff like that. They have Chiggy's line at like 34.5. I was looking at it under there, but Tannehill really seemed to like the guy. And on the other side, you got DeAndre Hopkins. Don't know what his usage is going to be. I don't really want any part of this game. Should be a good game to watch. I know a lot of people are going to be on Olave. I'd watch out with Michael Thomas back in the fold, but yeah, that's what I got. I got nothing.
I'm going Saints. I got it at 2.5. I'll put -3 on the thing. This isn't a big bet at all, but Saints and under is the way I would go here. If you're looking to place a bet in this game, those would be my recommendations. I know Derek Carr on the Saints is still a question mark. People have mixed reviews. Derek Carr has a ton of arm talent, but we've also seen him make a lot of mistakes. Whatever. Question mark next to Derek Carr in the Saints offense. But there's one unit in this game that there is no question mark next to, and it's the Saints defense under Dennis Allen. Despite going through the injuries and the bullshit they went through last year, they still finished the year with the 8th overall ranked defense. And I know a couple pieces on the Saints defense are getting up there in age. Their 2 main guys, Demario Davis and they're 34 and 34. They're both 34 years old. Maybe that could be a factor later in the season, but week 1, these guys are going to be ready. I'm counting on the Saints to look like a top 5 or 6 defense this year, or at least to start the season, because that's what they have been for years under Dennis Allen. And that's kind of all I need to back the Saints in this one, because we all know the Titans offense can look extremely stale at times, and I'm a Tannehill guy. My friends know this. Anyone in a group chat with me knows this. I like Tannehill. Think he's a winner. But that being said, especially early in the season, this Titans offense really stale. Derrick Henry over the course of his career has been much better in the second half of seasons than he has been in the first half of seasons. At home in New Orleans, I don't think Dennis Allen's going to have a problem shutting this Titans offense down. Now, on the other side of the ball, do I trust Derek Carr to move the ball and score a lot of points on the Titans defense? No. Titans had the number 1 run defense in the NFL last year. Number 1. They also had the 28th pass defense, so you could pass on them, but Derek Carr in his first game there. Also, Titans added a couple pieces. They brought in the Al-Shaair, that linebacker from the 49ers. They brought in Murphy Bunting. He's probably going to play some nickel for them. He's from the Bucs. So the Titans pass defense should be improved. I'm expecting a low-scoring game, and I like the Saints to win. Neither of these bets made my final ticket. I had them typed in, deleted them off last minute. Let's see where our poll's at. Wow, pretty split on this one. 45% of our viewers taking Saints -3, 43% taking Titans +3. That's a close one right there. Next. Texans at Ravens. I cannot believe how many people I'm seeing taking Houston and the points here. What is going on? I don't care. I don't care about that stupid NFL Week 1 trend. We're talking about the Ravens here. Do you see what they do to teams in Week 1? They beat the shit out of teams in Week 1. Proppy, what are you doing?
I was about as confident as I could be on Friday with Ravens -9.5. Now I'm at a Ravens or pass. I don't like the developments that have happened over the weekend. Marlon Humphrey being out sucks because not only is Marlon Humphrey out, but people forget that Marcus Peters left in the offseason. So their corners are Rock Ya-Sin, who's solid, I guess, and then Ronald Darby, who was utterly horrendous last year. So that's a bit concerning to me. And then on top of that, you take Mark Andrews out of the fold, a pivotal member of that Ravens offense, and it gets a little more shaky for me. Laying the 9.5 just becomes a little less tempting, but when it really comes down to it, could I see this Houston offense struggling anyways? Yes. Could I see Lamar Jackson going off without Mark Andrews? Absolutely. Have I noticed that the line went down to 8.5 on some books and now is back at 9.5 on some books despite the injury announcements? Yes. So I would lean the Ravens -9.5 just because I think Lamar Jackson under Monken could be insane. But it's not really a play that I'm like running to the window to bet. I'm not going to tell people with pure confidence like, oh, gotta lay the 10 with Ravens today. So, yeah.
You guys already know my play in this one. I put it on earlier. Falcons, Ravens, moneyline parlay. I got it at -113. Hopefully, if you're tailing that, it's still around that price for you. I mean, do you guys really need me to give a breakdown of why the Ravens should win this home game against the Houston Texans with C.J. Stroud at quarterback? I mean, if you want to talk to me about the Ravens' new offensive coordinator, new offensive scheme that apparently didn't look great in camp. Apparently didn't look great. Who cares? There's no way they should lose this game. C.J. Stroud going on the road in Baltimore to try to score points on the Ravens defense just sounds insane to me. Sounds insane. So that's how I'm betting that. I would lay the Ravens -9.5, by the way, as well. I probably will put a few dollars on that, but my main bet in this game would be the Falcons money line, Ravens money line parlay at -113. And poll. 70% of our viewers, our viewers are hammering the Ravens. 19% taking Houston plus the points. 4% over, 4% under.
The viewers are saying I have grade school Nikes. Incorrect, people. I wear a size 13. Put some respect on my feet.
Grade school Nikes. What, I did talk about your shoes in the background?
Yeah. I know I don't have the most, I guess, enticing ambiance as part of the streaming game. I was like, you know what? Just pull the shoe rack out.
You strategically put the shoe rack there.
I mean, yeah, I didn't know what else to do. The gray curtain didn't look drippy, I'll tell you that for sure.
All right, talk about your stupid-ass Bears bet.
Yeah, so I'm so in between on this game. I've had a headache with this.
You were sold on the Bears 24 hours ago, bro. Now you're bailing on them?
Listen here, dickwad. When I was leaving your house the other day, what did I say to you? I said the strength of the Packers being their offensive line scares me a bit because I think that the defensive line of the Bears is still not there. I like what they add in terms of linebackers at Edmonds and Edwards, and I also like what they got going on with Tyreek Stevenson at cornerback too. But the defensive line is still a concern for me. They're not going to create that much pass rush. So what I'm going with here is I'm going with my boy Khalil Herbert over 50.5 rush yards. I think this line is beyond disrespectful. It's set at 50.5 due to the fact that it's a crowded backfield with Foreman and Johnson. But Foreman's rush attempts went from 6.5 to 5.5 at the same amount of juice. So they're clearly confident that his rush attempts are not going to be all that high. And you got Khalil Herbert's rush attempts at 11.5, priced to -145 for the over on some books. But the rush yards totals at 50.5 makes no sense. Herbert has seen 10 games with 10-plus carries in his career. He cashed the line in 9 of them, averaging 84.5 yards per game. His lone miss came by a half yard at Minnesota last year. 29-10 loss with Nathan Peterman at quarterback. The dude is efficient as all hell. And one of them came against Green Bay, where he had 97 yards on 19 attempts. Herbert was one of the most efficient backs in the NFL in 2022, 5.7 yards per carry. And if you give him 12 carries against most defenses, he's going to hit 51 yards because he's going to outperform 4.2 yards per carry. Now he's facing a Packers defense that was legitimately pissed in 2022 against the run. Bottom 7 in rush yards per game, rush yards per carry, DVOA, adjusted line yards, everything. They were horrendous. And if you look at the offseason moves for the Packers, what did they do to address it? Not a goddamn thing. They did absolutely nothing to address this issue. Now you're going to have DJ Moore out wide. You're going to have Mooney back and healthy in the slot. You're going to have Claypool on the other side. Teams aren't going to be able to load the box anymore against the Bears like they were last season. And we already have a running back that was efficient as he was. As long as he hits his rush attempts over, he's going to hit this line. And we're saving a ton of juice on this. So give me over 50.5 rushing yards. Khalil Herbert. Love this.
I actually really liked your reasoning on that. I disagree that you're leaning Chicago. I'm going to bet the Packers. But I do like what you said about Khalil Herbert. That was some good research for real. I'm on the Pack, and this is basically a you're going to have to prove it to me Bears type of situation because, look, it's not really the Bears offense I'm concerned with. The DJ Moore is out there. The offensive line should be better. If you want to sell me that the Bears offense is going to take a step forward this year, because we saw signs of it last year, I'm buying. I'll buy that. But the Bears defense, good Lord, dude. The Bears defense last season might have been the worst thing I've ever seen assembled. At least the worst defense we've seen in the last 25 years. They were already one of the worst defenses in the NFL. And then they traded Roquan Smith and, what was it, Robert Quinn? They traded their two best players when they were already shit. So, look, they've addressed it. The defense should be better because anything was better than last year. But there's no way I'm going to take them to beat a team that's historically beat the shit out of them in week 1 based on height. And I'm not a Bears hater. I'm not a Justin Fields hater. I like to root for Ohio State, so I like Fields. I'm rooting for him. It's just, as far as my money, week 1, I think it's better placed on the Green Bay Packers, personally. And our viewers are leaning Chicago Bears here. Damn, people really digging the Bears this year. 55% of our viewers are laying the 1.5, 35% taking Packers plus 1.5, 4% over, 4% under.
I just think the Packers offense could be a bit predictable today. Dobbs has limited snaps. He had hamstring issues, barely.
Oh, so you like the Bears defense to make stops? That's what you like?
Dude, I think the Bears defense won't be that bad today.
Oh, my God, bro. Get a grip. Get a grip. See what the updated line's at for Patriots, Eagles. It's down to 3.5, bro. They're killing me. They are killing me with this. Eagles minus 3.5. Patriots plus 4.5. This line movement this morning is going to be the death of me. Over, under. Poll is running. Cast your vote. Cast your vote. You still on New England, down at 3.5, Prop Viewer.
Oh,
I know.
Oh.
That's what I know.
So much less sexy, but I'm doing it because you got to get gritty sometimes. Give me the Patriots plus 3.5. I think they can win this game outright. Belichick, the GM, I mean, my Christ, don't know what the guy's doing these days, but Belichick, the coach, is still a fantastic coach. And now the Patriots are actually going to have a true offensive coordinator. Say what you want about Bill O'Brien, but the guy led a top 10 offense at at Houston for 5 of his 6 years there, and he brought them to 4 of their 6 playoff berths. So the guy's not that bad of a coach. And on top of that, he's going to be bringing back that Alabama RPO system that Jones thrived with under Saban. He's bringing that to New England. And that really should just dumb things down for them. The offensive line lost a bit of talent in the offseason. What that's going to be able to do is it's going to create bigger holes in terms of running the ball. And then he's going to be able to get the ball out quicker, which is big for him because the pressure numbers last year for Mac Jones were really not that good. The Pats defense expected to be top 5 yet again. And despite the fact that the Eagles should be a powerhouse yet again this season, you can't ignore the fact that this team lost their OC and their DC and they're laying points in Gillette Stadium. I mean, they do have a lot of things working against them here. They also lost 5 major guys on the defense. They lost both linebackers, Kaiser White and TJ Edwards. They lost CJ Gardner-Johnson. They lost Javon Hargrave. If you thought the Eagles' rush defense was a weakness last year, I think it could be their crux this year. I think it could be real bad. And I think Ramondre Stevenson, even though he's dealing with the illness, can be efficient in the run game. He could chew the clock, keep Jalen Hurts off of the field, and we're going to see Zeke punch one in. So I need you to add Zeke touchdown plus 290 because
You're
that's
taking a Zeke touchdown.
because that shit's hitting. And that's pretty much it. I really just think that the Eagles are going to take a step back this year. The defensive holes are bad. The OC changes, DC changes, bad. Let's go Pats, baby. Let's go Pats.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to follow that up because we did this game together. So like we have a lot of the same notes and just I want to hammer home what he just said. The only weakness of the Eagles team last year, they didn't have many. The only one was their ability to stop the run. They were actually bottom half in the NFL in run defense in mostly all metrics. You lose Hargrave on the defensive line, your 2 inside linebackers, and both safeties. They lost a serious amount, all specifically positions that excel at stopping the run. I think the Eagles are going to have trouble stopping the run this year. Trust, they're still going to win 12, 13 games. Don't worry. The Eagles are going to be dope. But in this particular matchup, week 1 with this new defense, a new OC, a new DC, a new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator, with new pieces that can't stop the run. If you can't stop the run, where's like one place you don't want to go play? I'd say like San Francisco and New England. They run the shit out of the ball. That's what they do. So yeah, I'm on the Patriots too. I'm still taking them at 3.5.
I just really don't love the fact that Nakobe Dean is going to be their Mike. He's going to be their defensive play caller in the middle of the field, and he has 34 defensive snaps to his name. That's wildly concerning. Wildly concerning.
Just dripping with experience there.
Dripping with concern in this one.
Someone's making fun of your Ezekiel Elliott touchdown prop. For some reason, it's not giving me the poll results in the chat. There it is. 67.
It's a banger.
67% of our viewers betting Eagles minus 3.5. 20. I put Eagles minus 3.5, Patriots plus 4.5, so I fucked that up. 6% under, 1% over. Next. Rams at Seahawks. Let's see where the line's at right now. What an ugly game, by the way. We didn't talk about this one during the week.
Horrendous.
What a disgusting game. Sorry. So it's 4.5, 5. I'm going to put 4.5 for the poll. Rams plus 4.5. Seahawks minus 4.5. Over, under. Poll is running. Cast your vote. Prop Beaver, you have a bet in this one?
Yeah, I do. I'm going with Tyler Higbee over 44.5 receiving yards. Rams season's already off to a disastrous start. Top receiver, target monster, Cooper Kupp, inactive. And in weeks where Kupp and Stafford were active last year, Higbee was already getting 7.2 targets a game and averaging 40 yards per game. Higbee sat second on the team in target share behind Kupp, and then Allen Robinson was behind him at third. No Kupp there, no Allen Robinson there. Tyler Higbee is the main guy who's going to be getting the ball because the trio of Van Jefferson, Tutu Atwell, and Ben Skoranek is bad by XFL standards. So that's going to be tough for Stafford to get the balls to them. He now faces a Seahawks defense that was horrendous against tight ends in 2022. They were bottom 5 in yards per game allowed, targets per game allowed, and allowed the most yards per reception to tight ends at 14.1 yards per reception, which is pretty chunky. Sure, this defense is going to add Bobby Wagner back into the fold, which is pretty scary because he's a good cover tight end. But when Wagner was there in 2021, the team still had issues allowing yards to tight ends. Bottom 12 in yards per game, bottom 12 in targets, and 26 in DVOA. This also isn't the same system that Wagner was playing in. I think the system that they have under the new DC, rather than Ken Norton Jr., who was there at the time, really puts an emphasis on stopping receivers on the outside and letting more opportunities occur over the middle of the field. I think Higbee is going to be flooded with opportunity. And his receptions total open at 4.5, juiced to minus 160. With at least 5+ receptions and Stafford at quarterback, he is 11-4 to the over, averaging 57 yards per game. So I just think that there's a ton of value here, and the fact that the Rams defense I project to be the worst unit in the NFL.
That's exactly what I'm about to talk about.
And I think that basically due to that, he has to get the targets, the receptions, and the yardage here. So just by proxy.
And let me pick up right where he left off about the Rams defense. So I am on the over 45.5 in this one. And I actually like this a lot. I got 0.75 units on it. And if you know me, you know that usually totals don't get, if I put them on there, it's half unit bet, it's a few dollars. Go look at the Rams depth chart. Right after you're done watching this, go type into Google Rams depth chart and take a peek at that secondary. Yeah, my question when I looked at it was, who the hell are these guys? Other than Aaron Donald, I don't know who else is on that defense. And in case you're unfamiliar with the Seahawks offense, they have DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and Smith and Jigba. So they have 3 good receivers against a secondary I've never heard of. Seattle should have no problem scoring points in this game. And then on the other side, this is why I'm not really comfortable laying 5.5, 6, or it's down to 4.5. A healthy Matt Stafford under center. I mean, has Pete Carroll ever beaten Sean McVay by more than 5 points? I don't think he has. If he did, it's been a while. McVay's gotten the better of Pete Carroll for the most part in this series, and just taking him to win week 1 by 5, 6 points when that just never happens. I don't feel comfortable doing that, even without Cooper Kupp. I know some people are big on the Seahawks defense this year, and I get it. They brought Bobby Wagner back, so it's Bobby Wagner on his old team playing against his old team there. That's the situation we're in with that. But give it a week or two. I'm sure the Seahawks defense will be good by midseason, but week 1 against a healthy Matt Stafford in a division rivalry, I think he's going to find a way to get the ball in the end zone a couple times. So I'll take the over at 45.5.
Yeah, I think the books are teasing me. They got a Marquise Brown lineup, but they don't have a Rondale Moore lineup. I mean, this is just getting heinous.
They must have watched this show, bro.
They're terrified. They don't want the smoke.
69% of our viewers laying the 4.5 with Seattle, 18% taking the Rams, 6% under, 5% over. Next, Raiders at Broncos. Is this still at 3? 3.5, 3. Oh no, there's still 3s. 3.5, 3.5, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3.5. All right, so it's 3 on most of them. So we're rocking with 3 for the poll. Raiders plus 3, Broncos minus 3, over, under. All right, let's run the poll. And Beaver, I'm starting with this one. Actually, I don't know what you're betting.
A prop.
Oh, you're betting a prop? Well, I'm taking Denver. Broncos minus 3. Love the Broncos today. All right. I'm not entirely sure what people are expecting the Raiders to do in this one offensively. The Broncos had a top 10 defense last year, and they added Frank Clark. I don't know why the Broncos defense isn't getting more praises this offseason. I think they have a chance to be a top 5 defense. I like Jimmy Garoppolo. He's another one. I like guys who win, so I like the Tannehills. I like the Garoppolos. I like Jimmy Garoppolo, but he hasn't shown me he could be the playmaker that Derek Carr is. He's always been known as more of a game manager. And look, I know things weren't always sweet with Derek Carr with the Raiders, but he's got a ton of arm talent, like I said earlier. And look, nothing's wrong with being a game manager when you're on a great team. But if you have the worst team in a matchup, if you have the worst team on the road against a great defense, then you need a quarterback who's going to go out there and make plays. A game manager is not going to get it done. I don't know what the Raiders are going to do. I don't know if they're expecting to go into Mile High Stadium and hand the ball off to Josh Jacobs 30 times, because I think the Broncos front seven is going to be really good on defense. Look, on the other side, I'm not a big Sean Payton guy. I mean, I've always hated on him and Drew Brees, dating back 15 years. That being said, this is a perfect matchup for Sean Payton. First of all, he's opening up the season against a terrible defense. The Raiders' defense was ranked 31st in the NFL last year. So he opens up at home against a shitty defense. That's perfect for Sean Payton. But even more so, this matchup, what do the Raiders do defensively? They rush the passer. Max Crosby, Chandler Jones. That's what the Raiders do. That's basically all they have is a pass rush. Chandler Jones isn't even playing in this game. And that's exactly what Sean Payton is good at, getting the ball out of the quarterback's hands fast. That's what Drew Brees made a career doing. 3-step drops out, 3-step drops out. Get the pass rush off balance, take the pass rush out of the game, get the ball into the hands of your playmakers. Javonte Williams, Samaje Perine, I expect them to catch the ball out of the backfield. I think the Broncos are going to score points. I think they win comfortably. I'm going to say Broncos 29, Raiders 14.
Yeah, the prop I'm taking for this one, and I could not believe I got this line. Samaje Perine over 10.5 receiving yards. I think we're going to look back at this total in 3 weeks and say, what the hell were the books doing here? Sean Payton.
Wait, I'm sorry, what's that total? What's that total?
Over 10.5 receiving yards.
Oh, I like that. I was just saying that.
Yeah, Sean Payton's been hyping up this running back duo pretty much all off season. And if you look at PFF's depth chart for the 3 wide receiver sets, it's Ryan, who's actually projected to be getting snaps, not Javonte Williams. And why is that so important here? Well, because the Broncos are desperate for receiving weapons right now. I mean, Jerry Jeudy's not going to go with the hamstring injury. Cortland Sutton's coming off a down year and is going to be trailed by former All-Pro Marcus Peters. Marvin Mims is solid when it comes to big play ability, but he's more of a deep ball threat, not really an intermediate guy. And Adam Troutman and Dulcich are both low-end tight ends who don't command targets. The remaining wide receivers are Brandon Johnson, Philip Dorsett, and Lil Jordan Humphrey. So, I mean, truly, somebody needs to move the sticks here, and I think it's going to be Perine, because I think in this version of Sean Payton's offense, we're going to see Perine in the Kamara role, while Javonte Williams is more of the Mark Ingram. I think if there's any indication of how much usage an RB like Perine will get in the passing game, just look no further than last year with the Chargers offense. OC Joe Lombardi got fired from LA and went to Denver this offseason. Herbert had amongst the lowest ADOTs in all of football, was amongst the highest in terms of screen frequency. And while a better receiver than Perine, Eckler was getting 7.5 targets per game last year. If we could get 4 or 5 in this matchup, then I don't know how he doesn't blow by this number here. And it's a great matchup for Perine because the Raiders last year allowed the most yards per game, 4th most targets, 4th most receptions, and 4th most yards per reception to the running back position through the air. Perine was 9-5 to the over with 2+ targets last year. And considering I think that's his floor, I think this is a must play for the Sunday.
I like that a lot. And that actually plays directly into what I was saying, too, what I expect to see. So I like that play a lot. I can't believe it's at 10.5.
Blasphemy.
Blasphemy. Absolute blasphemy. Our viewers are liking the Raiders, and Jay Briggs from Pick Dogs likes the Raiders too. He was talking about the other day. 46% of our viewers taking the 3 points with Las Vegas, 37% laying it with Denver. Next, Dolphins at Chargers. You guys know where I'm at in this one because I put this one up on YouTube the other night. But let's run through it. Looks like all books have this at an even 3. So let's run the poll. Dolphins +3. Ooh. Chargers -3. Over, under. All right. Polls running. Cast your votes. You guys know where I'm at. I'm on the Chargers -3. Still on the Chargers -3. I don't want to go through it. It's on YouTube. There's a 9-minute video up of me breaking on this video, so I'm not going to recap all through that. Basically, Chargers pressed the shit out of the Dolphins receivers last year when they played, and it worked. Tua was terrible in that game. Dolphins offense couldn't get anything going. They only scored 17 points, and 7 of them came on a Tyreek Hill recovered fumble where he ran for it's 60 yards after he picked it up. So the Dolphins offense only legitimately scored 10 points in that game, and that was in Miami. Wait, was that game in Miami? I think it was in Miami. It might have been in L.A. last year, too. Regardless.
I think it was in L.A.
Yeah, I think it was in L.A. now that I'm thinking about it. But regardless, that game last year that the Chargers beat them and shut down that offense, there was no Joey Bosa. There was no J.C. Jackson. And Terron Armstead was playing for the Dolphins, their best offensive lineman, best pass blocker. All 3 of the opposites are happening for today. Joey Bosa is playing, J.C. Jackson is playing, and Terron Armstead is not playing. And the splits of the Miami Dolphins pass blocking metrics with and without Terron Armstead on the field last year are extreme. So, yeah, I expect the Chargers to get to Tua early and often. I'm expecting the Chargers defense to play well. And then on offense, Miami's pass defense was terrible last year. They had an awful pass defense. They had an awful defense on the road. And you got the Chargers offense loaded with weapons with Kellen Moore at the helm, who's led the NFL in total yards two of the last 4 years. So, yeah, Chargers by more than 3.
Yeah, I don't really need to add much. The pressure rate without Terron Armstead is just flat out insane. You got Bosa and Mack coming off the edge. That's trouble written all over it. And then on top of that, you got J.C. Jackson back, one of the best press corners in all of football. He didn't look that great last year, but he went into camp with an injury, then got injured. He's fully healthy heading into this ball game. Should be excited, ready to go. And yeah, I just think that they were able to outcoach him last year. Everybody's down on Brendan Staley. Everybody loves Mike McDaniel and his little vape. I'm going with the Chargers.
And his little vape, he said. Does he vape?
He was vaping on the sidelines hardcore last year. He was blowing clouds. He was doing smoke tricks.
I actually remember. Now that you're mentioning that, I do remember seeing that. 46% of our viewers taking the Chargers -3, 36 taking the Dolphins +3, 14% over A lot of our viewers on the over in this one. Final game of the night. The Carrie Underwood Bowl. Giants Cowboys. Let's see what this line says. It's still at 3. 3, 3.5. 3, 3.5. 3.5. 3.5. 3.5. Oh shit, we're at 3.5 now. Gotta run the poll at 3.5. Gotta be fair. Cowboys minus 3.5. Giants plus 3.5. Over, under. Prop Beaver, what are you betting in this one? Poll's running, by the way.
Dallas Cowboys via submission. They should absolutely murder this fucking overrated piece of trash that got lucky to make the playoffs last year. Simply better than the Giants in every single way, shape, and form. And they improved upon their flaws, bringing in Mozzie Smith to plug up the run game. They got Stephon Gilmore on the other side of Trevon Diggs, which was a huge liability for them down the stretch. Better in every single way, shape, or form. Dak wasn't his best last year, but if you look at his interception rate throughout his career, it's been significantly better than that. And on top of it, the Giants were amongst the bottom 3 teams in interceptions for us last year. Just not a good secondary. I think they're going to have mismatches all over the place. Adoree Jackson trying to guard CeeDee Lamb is a joke. The fact he's the number 1 cornerback on a team is a joke in itself. So I think that CeeDee Lamb is going to cook him on the inside. On the outside, you got Brandon Cooks going against a first-round receiver a first-round corner who's never played an NFL game before. You have Michael Gallup, who has another year under his belt after injury, should be a lot more explosive this year. This really should be a clinic by the Dallas Cowboys at Meadowlands tonight. The only thing that I really do think works for the Giants is the fact that Darren Waller is a huge mismatch for them. I don't know if they have a linebacker that can cover Darren Waller or a safety as well with his 6-7 foot head ass. But if he does slip-a-roo on that wet turf, then maybe the hammy goes, he's out, and the Cowboys just roll on. Either way, I'm taking the Cowboys. I don't think the Giants keep up.
Agreed, and I don't even need to add much to that. Daniel Jones, over the course of his career, has struggled against Dallas. He's 1-5 lifetime against Dallas, and his only win came against the Andy Dalton Cowboys in Week 17 of a meaningless. They were both eliminated, so that was the only time he ever beat the Cowboys. Daniel Jones has never beaten Dallas in a meaningful game in his entire career, and Dak Prescott has dominated the Giants. What is he, 10-0 against them in his last 10? I'm pretty sure he's won 10 in a row against the Giants.
It's been insane, yeah. And Daniel Jones has been horrendous against the Cowboys every single time out.
And not to mention the matchup between the Giants' offensive line, which should be better. The Giants' offensive line should take a step forward. But if the matchup between the Giants' offensive line and the Cowboys' defensive line is it's like one of the best defensive lines in football against one of the worst offensive lines. Cowboys should dominate. I could see Dak Prescott in the offense maybe struggling a little bit. It's supposed to be bad weather. So maybe if it's like pouring rain, I could see the Giants plus 3.5 as a play. But overall, and I don't like to make those weather plays because sometimes I'll make a bet based on the weather, thinking like, oh, it's going to stay close because like it's going to be raining. And then you turn on the game and it's fucking beautiful. You're like, fuck.
Dude, I'll never let the weather sway my pick again.
Exactly. So Cowboys minus 3.5. Looks like the poll is agreeing with me here. 65% of our viewers laying it with Dallas, 29% taking the Giants.
I think what you said is a good point, too, about the line. I think that Micah Parsons versus Andrew Thomas, much watch TV. But, dude, if you got Doris Armstrong or, what is his name? I think DeMarcus
Lawrence?
Damn it. Yeah, DeMarcus Lawrence on the other side against Evan Neal. I mean, that is a nightmare from hell.
They also like Mozzie Smith a lot, a tackle that they drafted out of Michigan. He's going to be a T tackle for the Cowboys. All right, it's underdog time. All right, here we'll start with my first. Are you sure you emailed me your underdog?
I might be the type of clown that sent it to myself. Let me go ahead.
Yeah,
and check.
email it to me, please. We'll start with mine.
No, I sent it to you.
All right, I'll check in a second. Here's mine, built by yours truly. Baker Mayfield higher than 233.5 passing yards. Derek Carr higher than 241.5 passing yards. Justin Herbert higher than 293.5. 3 hires in passing yards. I did that purposely. This is a 3-pick, so it's a 6-time payout. I already used my Patrick Mahomes bonus, but there's a Patrick Mahomes bonus underdogs running on there that gives you a free leg of what they do. If you don't have Underdog Fantasy, it's available in any state highlighted in orange. So if you're in one of those states, go to Underdog Fantasy, the website, or download the app. When you make an account, use the promo code BET, B-E-T, get you a free $100. You deposit $100, they give you a free $100 to play with. Prop Beaver, let me find your shit here. Let me search for you.
I went with a 5-piece McNugget. We're bringing it in.
I
today.
would say screw it and be like, yeah, we're not doing your underdog. But you're actually been good at these, so we do have to show them because you've been good at it. But I would have no problem.
I'm still good at them because they're basically my props for today.
Oh, yeah? All right, cool. In that case, let's definitely get them up. Here it is, right here. So this one comes from Prop Beaver. Wow, let me make this smaller. Here, go ahead. You have the floor. Read them off.
Yeah, we got Barkley over a half-yard free square, essentially. Thank you. Underdog, we got the Jamar Chase under. Everybody and their mother's going to be on the over. Give me that under. We'll play it sharp. Kenny Pickett needs to throw the ball today, so we got his passing yards over. Samaje Perine with the steal of the century on the receiving yards. And then Tyler Higbee, volume monster himself. That's what we're rocking with today.
You went with a 5-piece McNugget.
Payout. 5-piece McNugget, bro. Give me the fucking sweet and spicy on the side.
Don't listen to his crazy ass. Do a 3-piece. 3-piece. Those are I feel those are the most fun. Anyway,
God, you need to feel something on week 1.
shall we get down with the first ever community parlay? The first ever NFL community parlay in the history of YouTube. No one's ever done a community parlay in the NFL before.
I'm sure.
You know why? Because we invented that. All right, so I was thinking about how we want to do this, and I decided for the first week what we're going to do, let's do moneyline winners. We'll do pick'ems.
Okay.
So we'll start with Bengals at Browns. Bengals won that poll, so Bengals money line. Bucks Vikings, we'll go Vikings money line. Panthers Falcons, Falcons money line. Jags Colts, they had Jaguars money line. So first leg of the community parlay. Cast your vote. In case you're new, because there's a lot of people watching right now, so some new people that weren't with the baseball show, vote. And we do a few votes. Each winner is a leg of the parlay, and we all place that parlay together and usually lose. But we're winning today. Looks like Bengals moneyline has the early lead. We'll run through it quick. I know it's after 12, and kickoff's coming up, so I'll give it 5 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and it's the Jags. It was always the Jags. First leg is the Jaguars money line. Property, can you open up a sports book, please?
Yes, sir.
All right. Next. Did they vote? They voted 49ers, though. Not Steelers. So 49ers money line. Commanders money line. Titans Saints. That was split, so we'll put Saints money line. Saints barely won that. And then Ravens Texans. They have Ravens. Second leg of the community parlay is posted. Cast your votes. Who's going to join the Jags on the community parlay? Washington takes an early lead. Oh, here comes Baltimore. No, I know we have an hour until kickoff, but Sunday, some people go to their friend's house, family. So I know you don't. Not everyone. Everyone has to get on their way, start their day. So it's going to be Ravens probably, but at 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ravens money line. So we got Jags money line. We got Ravens money line. Next leg coming. So we got where we leave off. Ravens. All right. Packers at Bears. Who won that poll? Bears won it, right?
I've been looking for Rondale.
Yeah, Bears won that shit. Bears money line. Eagles money line. Seahawks money line, definitely. And Raiders Broncos. Raiders won that. Let's go Raiders money line. That's what the people want. Third leg of the community parlay is up. Cast your votes. Looks like Eagles money line takes an early lead here. People weren't feeling our Patriots plus 3.5 picks, I guess.
Good.
Oh, here comes Seahawks. Here comes the Seahawks. Tied. Seahawks take the lead. We have 5 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and poll. And it's the Seahawks. Jags money line, Ravens money line, Seahawks money line. Final leg incoming. And we have, where'd we leave off? Chargers money line, Cowboys money line, and then we'll do some second places. Eagles money line, and then who got second, and the one before that was Commanders money line. Here we go for the fourth and final leg of the community parlay. Vote it up. Looks like it's going to be the Dallas Cowboys, but I'll give it another few seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yep, it's the Cowboys. What are odds at?
Let me just add the Cowboys real quick. So it's at plus 334.
Plus 334. Our community parlay week 1 is Jags, Ravens, Seahawks, Cowboys at plus 334. A terribly valued parlay, which is right on par with what we like.
I was going to say, this is gross.
It's disgustingly square. So community parlay plus 334. Hopefully that hits. All right, couple things before we close. I'm giving away a signed Keenan Allen helmet, I'm sure as most of you know. If you didn't enter, you got to go on the website and put your 4 picks in. Winner of that gets a signed Keenan Allen helmet mailed to him. Here's the link for that here. If you want my top, I have 5 top bets today. 12 bets total, 5 top bets, and 2 parlays at the bottom. And there's a Discord link on there if you want to join the Discord. If you're interested in that, those can be found right here. All right. That was fun. Let's get it started. I'm about to slam a Red Bull. My friends will be here about 20 minutes. Throw down some bets. Let's have a great Sunday. I'll be active in the Discord all day. I have my computer set up. So if you're in the Discord, I'm going to go live and stream or do something at halftime of all the games. Maybe find some live bets. So if you're in the Discord, I'll be chatting with you. If not, enjoy your day. Thank you for taking the time to watch. Let's have a good one.